Hi everyone, and welcome back to my Photoshop channel, my photography channel, Professor, where a photography and Photoshop professor helps out with some tutorials on photography techniques and Photoshop tutorials and techniques. Today we're building off of, this is the third episode, we're doing skin editing, and the first one we talked about was skin, for editing was frequency separation. The next one we talked about was contouring the face, dodging and burning, and today we're going to talk a little bit about help with makeup, namely around the eyes and the lips. Now, I have clients come to me all the time that have little to no makeup on or aren't very experienced with makeup. So adding a little bit of makeup or enhancing their makeup is something that should be in every photographer's tool bag, and this is something I'm going to go over today. You'll notice this is Claire. She's got great features. She looks super elegant laying on the grass right here. Beautiful look, beautiful hair, beautiful gal, and is super graceful. She's a dancer. I love photographing dancers. They just have sort of a grace to them, and you can see here that she's great at posing. So she showed up and had some makeup, a little bit of makeup on, but you'll notice that she had there's some acne breakouts and things on her forehead and here on her cheeks. Her lips look a little bit chapped, and I'm gonna sort of want to enhance some of the makeup she's got and maybe take some dark circles out of her eyes. And you'll notice that after I did frequency separation, we'll see the after, I did some of that stuff, and you'll see that her eyes look a little less dark, and she looks a little cleaner here, okay, in terms of skin and the makeup of her skin. So if we click on the makeup that I did, you'll see that I fixed mostly her eyes and her lips a little bit. And I'm going to go over how I did that today. There's really simple techniques, easy techniques to do this, and I'm going to go over all of them. But first I'm going to break down a little bit on how everything worked. And so here it is. So these right here are the lips, and I went through sort of pink to more of an orangey tone right here. I just like the little orange because you're going to see with the eyes. I think that to me felt a little better color wise. And then I've got the right eye here, and then the left eye that I did both separately, and then I added a little bit of darkness and highlights the creases and shadow the corners. Okay, and I'm going to sort of go over how to do all of that. So let's delete this makeup folder and start on our own. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is with the Lasso Tool, I'm going to highlight the lips. Now, I have this feathered 20 pixels, which is really important with making selections. You want to have sort of a soft edge sometimes. And for me, 20 pixels right now is what I'm liking for this. Okay, so I'm just going to go over there and hold left click down and drag this around her lips, drag my Lasso Tool. There are other ways of making selections, you guys. Use whichever one you like and feel most comfortable with. Now, I will have you know that if you want to add to the selection, you just hold shift down and then slowly left click and add a little bit to that. If you want to subtract from it, you just hold option down and take a little bit away from it, okay? So even if once you've got your selection done, you can add to or take away from an existing selection just by holding shift or option down. So there's her lips. I've got them selected. I'm going to go into hue saturation down here in my adjustments panel, and I go to hue saturation, and I'm going to shift the hue of these lips. Now, I've already gone through and done some of these numbers that I like, the color wise, and so I'm not going to fool around and go back and forth and show you that from blue to reds and yellows and pinks and all this, and then adjust the saturation on all those also so you can see them and go darks and lights and all that jazz. Okay, just not going to do it. I've already worked out the numbers I've liked, and you can experiment and see what numbers of hue saturation and lightness you like, and work with these on your own. And for the mouth, I came up with a hue shift of 21, a saturation of 42, and -2 down here for lightness. Now you'll see that looks a little bit too orangey, and you're exactly right, but I'm going to again drop this opacity down here to about 30%, and you'll see that now that it actually fits a little better. It's got that sort of warm yellowish glow to her lips. Okay, now I'm going to do her eyes. So there's their left eye and her right eye. So I'm going to go down and back on the background. If you go here and try to make a selection, you're not selecting anything. That's just an adjustment. So you've got to actually go back and select your background. So I'm going to take the Lasso tool. I'm going to select the left eye first, going just underneath the eyebrow up there, down into the socket, and then across the lid right here. And again, I'm going to add a little bit, and then be fine with that selection right there. So I'm going to go to hue saturation again. This is we'll call this the left eye. I need to actually call this mouth. So I'm going to go over here and left click slow and call that mouth. I just got done doing an episode and recording all this and realized that I'd swapped all those around because I didn't name them. So make sure you guys always label your layers so you know where you are. Okay, because you're going to get lots of them eventually, and it won't make any sense. You won't even know what you're dealing with. So here's the left eye right up in here. I'm going to actually go and left click on this. And my eyes, I've discovered I like -6. Saturation, of 13. And that looks good. And then my opacity, I'm going to drop down to 76%. And again, these numbers, you guys, I've worked out already and thought that this is what I liked. So that's why I'm choosing them. Okay. I would normally just slide them back and forth and look around and check stuff and see what I like. But I've already done that, and I didn't want to sit there and bore you with me swirling around trying to figure out what I like and what I don't like. Because sometimes that can be agonizing, and I can just sit there forever trying to figure that out. So I didn't want to subject you to that torture. Okay, I wasn't going to share my torture with you. So I make the selection with the lasso tool. Again, I come down here to hue saturation. I label this right eye because that's the proper thing to do, and you won't get confused later. And then I'm going to come up here and I add the same numbers for my color. Saturation 13. That looks good, and I'm going to drop it to about an opacity of 76 over here. Just like that. And there we go. There's my eye makeup. Now that looks good already. The only thing is, you guys, though, is with makeup, there's a highlight here, generally a mid-tone gray here, and then a dark in the corner. Okay, and I'm going to do that real quick right now and add that sort of shaping method and contouring method of the eyelids so you guys can sort of see how that works too. So I'm going to add a completely new layer. This layer I'm going to call, let's call it eye shaping. Okay, and now with black paint on this layer, I'm going to be super brutal and it's going to get ugly. Okay. And you can either do this with left eye and right eye and add 2 separate layers, one for each. And that would probably be the best way to do this. That way you have more control. But I'm just going to do it quickly like this to give you guys an idea and show you. And so what's going to happen is this. 100% with black, I'm going to paint this in the corner, okay, on the edge, on the eye. Now there's a highlight generally right here. I'm going to leave that alone. And then I'm going to paint mid-gray right down here in this part, okay? So to paint mid-gray, I'm just going to make this 50%. I'm going to take this and just make this gray. That's it. Okay? There we go. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. On the inside eye, I'm going to take this and make this 50% from here down. There's my highlight right there. And I'm going to make this 100%, make it back to black. I'm going to take it from here over and make this black to the corner. Okay, make my corner black. So this looks really, I know it looks really messed up, and that does not look anything like you normally want to have it. But keep in mind, this is going to change, right? So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna set this blend mode over here to soft light. So again, the fastest way to do it is go to your move tool up here, hold shift down, and scroll through with your minus key or plus key, depending if you want to go the other way. There's soft light. Now, I'm going to drag the opacity down. Okay. There we go. And I like that a lot better already. I'm going to go real subtle with this. And then I'm going to take it and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this up a little bit because I don't want it like this. So I'm going to clean this up and mask this. Right, and I'll put a mask on it right there. And with the mask, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint black with a brush. And I'm going to wipe it off 100%. I'll make sure it's soft right here, right? But then I'm going to paint this off. So I have control now over where I put my darkness. And if I don't like where I put it, I can paint it off. Watch. See that? I paint it all off. And I can also put it back. and it's just subtle, right? So I do sort of like that actually. I like where it was. I don't like it up here as much. I take that off a little bit. And on the side over here, I think I like that actually is, there we go. I'll take that off a little bit too. So now you can see there are her eyes. Okay, and actually this goes to the corner a little bit too much, so I'm going to pull that back just a tear. Yeah. There we go. And here's our slightly shaping of the eyes. It's just super, again, super subtle. A little bit dark in the corners, highlight on the top of the eye, and then a mid-tone toward the nose. Just like that. I'm going to play this down with a little bit of my mask and hit that with a mask. There we go. There we go. And there are her eyes. Okay, there's the shaping, there's the lips, there's the left eye, and there's the right eye. So now you might think that this looks a little bit too much, a little bit dramatic. It could. This mouth I could probably bring down a little more. And I could probably bring the entire thing down, and I might just do that. How would I do that? Well, if I hold shift down and left click and grab all of these, I can hit command G or control G on a PC, and it turns them into a group. I can call this group makeup. And when I'm done naming this group, I can drop the opacity of the entire group. And again, I told you guys, I tend to go on the heavy side of things usually, only to drop the opacity later. And here's I actually like that a lot better. So there's the finished product. There's the new eye makeup. It's super subtle right there. Lip changed just a little bit. You can add blush, you guys, by doing the same exact thing by making a highlight here on the apple of the cheek, and change in hue saturation just a little bit to add a little bit of blush, and that's it. Thanks for watching this tutorial, you guys, on eye makeup and lip change makeup and stuff. And I look forward to seeing you guys next episode when we go over color grading and fine tuning the last little bits and pieces of skin editing.